Yep. Hey guys, welcome. This is Evelyn and Aaron over at Saguaro Culinary. So we already showed you the candy apple, so today we're going to show you the caramel apple. The steps are almost the same until we actually get to start making the caramel. So real quick, same as before. If you want more in depth, we'll just watch the candy apple video, okay? So first things first, once again, we're going to take our apple. We're going to bring it over to our pot of boiling water. I'm going to pour in a little bit of, about 1 tablespoon of white vinegar. Same as before, the reason we do this is we want to get the shiny coating off of our apple because it'll stop the caramel from sticking to it. So we're basically just going to dunk our apple, 5-10 seconds. Just let it go. Okay. Okay, and that's basically all it takes to get the shiny wax coating off, okay? So I'm using tongs, don't use your hands, use whatever's safe for you, okay? Okay, turn off your stove. Okay, we're gonna come back over here. Okay, so today when we make the caramel recipe, we're gonna make a full caramel recipe. This will do 9 to 10 apples. I'm only gonna do 1 today to show you guys. So real quick, I'm just gonna grab a paper towel and dry my apple. So I want to get all the moisture off of this one. Okay, this will air dry, but I'm just going to speed the process a little bit just by drying it. And then same as before, you guys can see how this apple is not as shiny. So like you can see, so it took all that wax coating right off of it, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the stem out. Okay, so I have my bamboo skewer again. Remember, the apple's going to sit like this, so I want the skewer to go right through the top. About 3/4 of the way in. I just don't want to go anywhere. And this is an awesome fall recipe. You can do this at home, you can do it with your family. Makes a lot of apples and they're honestly delicious, okay? So let me grab my pan and then we'll go over ingredients, okay? All right, so I have my, we'll get over that in a second. So, okay, here's the pan I'm gonna use. This makes a fair amount of caramel. It's probably gonna come up to the bottom here like that. It's gonna make about that much, okay? So let's go over ingredients today. So for my caramel, I'm going to use heavy whipping cream. I'm going to use butter. I'm going to use brown sugar, a little bit of salt, and my corn syrup again, okay? I don't know if I mentioned it, but there's actually 2 varieties of corn syrup over at the grocery store. You can buy light or you can buy dark. I'm using the light in this one. If you use the dark, this one doesn't matter as much because the caramel is going to be dark regardless, okay? Okay, so first things first, we're going to get 2 cups of brown sugar. So brown sugar, so as you guys can see, brown sugar is definitely not as, it's not as fine as regular sugar. So you can see how it almost looks like sand. So what I'm going to show you, okay, so this recipe calls for 2 cups of packed brown sugar. So what that means, so that looks like a cup, but it's not actually a cup. So there's a lot of air pockets in there and stuff, so I'm going to pack it down. I'm going to get a little more sugar. So I want the full cup out of this, okay? So you always want to pack your brown sugar, and all that means is packing it down, leveling off, okay? So that's a cup. So you can see on brown sugar, it literally stays like that. Okay, I'm going to get my second cup, pack it down. There we go. Okay, so that's that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it up a little bit. I just don't want giant things. So that's my 2 cups of brown sugar. Okay, so I'm going to do 1 cup of corn syrup. Oh, sorry. So 1 cup of the corn syrup. Guys, be careful with this. It's very sticky. Okay, so here comes a cup. So actually corn syrup, let me pause for 2 seconds. So corn syrup is actually really cool. So it actually, on the bottle, it measures it out for you. 1 bottle is 2 cups. So you can pour it right to this line and that's a cup, okay? I'm going to use the measuring cup today just to show you guys what a cup of corn syrup looks like. Okay. Okay. So that's our 1 cup of corn syrup. I'm just going to pour that right in. Okay. So it stays on the thing a little bit. So just make sure you get it all out. Okay. Next is going to be 1 3/4 cup of the heavy whipping cream. Okay. So this is going to be 1 full cup of it. Okay, and the easiest way to do this, instead of trying to eyeball 3/4 of a cup, just do yourself a favor and get a 1/4 cup measurement and give it 3 of these. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's my heavy whipping cream. To this, I'm gonna add half a teaspoon of salt. It's not gonna make salted caramel. If you want more of a salted caramel, you can certainly add more salt later in. That's okay. Okay, and 2 tablespoons of butter. So as you can see, they measure it off for me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go grab a knife real quick and cut this. So the easiest way I find to do this is, so I actually just cut right through the paper, right there. So that's my 2 tablespoons. Wait, you know what guys, I think I was wrong. I think this actually calls for 4 tablespoons. So let's do another 2, okay? So 2 plus 2, 4. Okay, so we're gonna get our butter in. Make sure you don't get any of the wrapper. It's not good eating. Okay, so that's basically our caramel base. That's all we need, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our candy thermometer. Remember, we use this for the candy apple. We're gonna use it for the caramel apple as well. The difference today is I'm only trying to get to about 240 degrees. I want it right between softball and hardball. So it's gonna have a little bit of give. It's not gonna be like the candy coating where that was just solid like glass, okay? Okay, let's go on over to the stove. The only other thing I'm going to need for this recipe is a little bit of vanilla. I'm keeping it over here because I have to put it right in at the end. If I put it in at the beginning, it's gonna change flavor a little bit, and it's not great. So once again, I'm going to turn it up to medium-high heat, 5 out of 6. I'm going to put my candy thermometer right in the bottom there. I'm not going to touch this. I'm just going to let it be. No, don't stir it, guys. Do not stir this whatsoever. Just let it be. It's going to do its own thing. It'll come together on its own. You know, when you're doing a soup or whatever, you want to keep stirring it, make sure it doesn't burn. I'm not worried about that right here. Okay, so we're going to cook this for a little bit longer. Once we get up to about the 220, then we'll start worrying about it, okay? Okay. Okay, guys, so we're getting up there. So it's very hard to see on this video. This is it's kind of not great marked, but you can see that the candy thermometer is hitting about 230 right now. And I just want to show you guys, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a spoon. I'm not going to stir anything. This has been going for a few minutes, and like it just does its own thing. Don't touch it. So I'm going to dip in my spoon. So it's getting to that point where it's getting caramel. I still want it a little bit thicker so it can stick and hard into my apple, okay? So usually candy thermometers have clips in them. This one does not apparently, so we're just going to set it there, let it be on its own. I'll just hold it basically because we're almost at the point. So we're climbing up there. You don't want to go much past 240. You run the risk of burning your caramel. So once again, guys, I'm going to use a silicone baking mat. I don't get a kickback on this, but I highly recommend it. I can't recommend these enough.
And you can get these at Amazon.
Okay, so let's see. So we're at 230 right now. So we're almost to the magic number. So magic number I want is 240. Okay. Yeah, if you're doing this at home, just do the spoon test or the bowl of cold water, but you want it to look almost like this, a little bit thicker than this, not much. Okay, that looks really good, honestly. Okay, so we're just gonna wait for it for another 5 degrees, and then we're going to dip our apple, okay? So I don't know if you guys can see it at all, but see where we're at, like right at like 237. So when you're making candy, the numbers actually matter. Because there's the different temperatures at which candy does different things. So on this one, the numbers matter. So go by what it says. Just trust it. You can use a digital thermometer if you want. If it goes up to about 300 degrees, you can absolutely use that. That works. Okay, so I'm at like 239 right now. So I'm gonna take my thermometer out actually at this point. Okay, I'm just gonna put it on my silicone mat. Okay. At this point, I'm going to stir in a little bit of vanilla, okay? About 1 teaspoon. And that'll just give it the nice flavor. Watch how it boils up a little bit. But as I stir it, I can feel how thick this is. It's insanely thick right now, so this is perfect. I'm going to turn off my heat. And you don't need to work super quick, but you want to start working pretty quick, okay? So once again, I'm just going to take my apple and I'm going to dunk it right in. Okay. I'm going to get it covered. tilt it in. And I want a nice coating of caramel on this. Okay? I'm gonna bring it right up. Okay, I'm gonna let it dry, let the stuff run off a little bit. It doesn't need to be, like, as you can start to see how the caramel's starting to harden right now. At this point, that's okay. So all I'm gonna do is let this last one go, and then we're gonna come on over, straight down. At this point, this is where you're gonna put your toppings in. If you want nuts, candy, like candy, anything like that, M&Ms, this is the point you're gonna roll it. Once it hardens, it's not gonna work too much. Okay, so then we're left with all this caramel. If you guys are only doing a few apples, you're gonna have a lot of caramel left over. There's a couple different things you can do with it. If you have a silicone mat or like maybe a marble countertop, you can basically just pour it right out. Okay, I'm not gonna do all of it, but this will harden and form into like almost like a taffy, and it tastes really good. It's good eating. You can also let this cool down, and you can actually put this in a slow cooker or on the stovetop again at a very high heat. You're not trying to cook it again. You just want to remelt the caramel, and that way you can actually do caramel apples throughout the day if you want. So like in a slow cooker on the slowest setting, just make sure it's liquid again. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it last video, but real quick, if you guys wait for this to cool down a little bit, fill the pot with water, put it back on the stove, simmer. The only thing in this is like sugar and butter, and the hot water will melt it back in to make cleanup very, very easy, okay? So that's the caramel apple. You already did the candy apple, so okay, that's awesome, guys. That looks great. All right, thanks, guys. Have a great day.